Hi and welcome. Another ganking session with me, Magaibo. Slightly different setup today in that instead of ganking on the perimeter gate in Jita, I've moved to the Jita gate in perimeter. Still no face of mine on the videos, I'm afraid. Still got COVID, still looking dreadful. Must be very hard for you to live without my face. Slightly different setup, like I say. The gate is different. And what I mean by that is when you're in Jita on the perimeter gate, you have other things on your grid. So you have got 3 other gates that are on the same grid as you. So if you've got an overview like I do where you're just looking for corvettes as they jump in, you get corvettes that jump in and warp to the other 3 gates. In perimeter it's different because there are no other gates on the grid. However, there are lots of stations, there are lots of, I'll show you, structures as well. So citadels, engineering complex, and even refineries. So while you might not get ships coming in from other systems, you do have lots of ships undocking from the structures. So if you're looking at your overview, to keep clicking to catch things that jump in, you're also going to catch things just as they undock as well. Oh, look at that, I've got it set to pods, not corvettes. Originally when I started ganking, this was my very first gate. So there's a lot of nostalgia for me on this gate. But my techniques were very different. I didn't catch ships as they were jumping through. I was strictly looking for autopilot. Ships that were coming towards me, usually from this direction. Now, let me talk you over what I mean by this direction. This is where ships that are coming to Jita from other systems will arrive from, to the right of where the gate is here, and to the left broadly is where the structures are based. So if a ship is coming from one of the structures, it'll land roughly to the left of the gate. So when I started out, I was only really looking at stuff on the right of the gate. I was looking for ships that were autopiloting and coming in from different systems, coming to Jita. And it was quite successful. I did that for about 3 or 4 years. And I actually had my thrashers sitting at the 15-kilometer point, where you would autopilot in. Players who've been playing for a while will remember that autopilot used to take you to 15 kilometers from the gate and not the 10 kilometers that we see now. So that gave you extra time to scan and shoot. The 10 kilometers, it's still long enough if you've got a bit of practice to scan and shoot. But if you're just beginning, then those extra 5 kilometers used to make a big bit of difference. So I learnt about, far too late, I learnt about the skill Survey 5. So the 2 skills that you need to know about with locking and scanning is the first one that determines how long it takes for you to actually lock onto a ship. And then the second one is how long it takes for you to run the actual scan, the cargo scan, which is this module here, cargo scanner. And that's survey that you need for that. And you'd want to get that to survey 5. Now look at this ship on the left here. He's autopiloting, but he's just come down from the Tranquility Trading Tower. So he's going to Jita, so it's only one system, but he's still autopiloting. You will see that. Or maybe what he's done is he's just walked to the gate at 10. Because he's got the snowballs on board. That's fair enough, okay. But you do get people that autopilot from Tranquility Trading Tower to 4-4 in Jita, which is one jump. And proportionately, there's a higher number of people coming out of the Tranquility Trading Tower, i.e. to the left of the gate here, who've got goodies. So large skill injectors, skill extractors, multiple pilot training certificates, and such like. And these are the things that we're after. So this is an old favourite of mine, this gate. I started out here, and I was so nervous. Like, the first time that you go to gank someone, your hands are shaking, you don't really know what to expect. You have to deal with multiple clients, because obviously you want to be able to get away with the loot as well. So I'll look back on that time and just laugh at myself with how much I used to shake and panic. I felt that there was always something going on around this gate as well. It was a gate that the war deckers always used to seem to have a lot of action on. The likes of, well, it was Pirate back then, not Black Flag. And they would jump in here and catch the alliances that they were war decking, which gave me plenty of opportunity to steal their loot. And it's always been a popular gate for other gankers as well. I tend not to have a lot of overlap with the other gankers that are here. You'll see that I've got 2 pilots red boxed here, and they're other gankers. And the reason that they're red boxed is because of intel that I was given when I joined this ganking community. And they provided me with a list of known loot thieves. And you will see that this pilot is a member of a corp called Three Sharks, or an alliance called Three Sharks. And I was warned, you know, they will steal your loot. There is a certain degree of honour amongst most of the thieves. So there's a lot of the gankers that you'll see on the station, or maybe through the pipe down through Uedama. We have a chat with each other. There's a fair degree of humour about it. Now, this Merlin here, he's either autopiloting or he's autopiloting. So who is he? Right, he's 1 day old. Should we let him away with that? The other difference with perimeter is the security level. This is 1.0, whereas Jita is 0.9. Makes no difference to a ganker like me at all, because I only ever plan to get one shot off, and whether you're in 1.0 space or 0.5, if you're on a gate, it's not going to make any difference. The gate guns are going to get you, whether or not Concord are there. Okay. So the targets today will be corvettes jumping in from Jita, anything autopiloting from anywhere, ships that jump in and don't move straight away, and I got my biggest ever kill that way, although it didn't drop. It was an Astero with, I can't even remember how many multiple pilot training certificates on board, but it was over 60 billion. And it jumped through and it just sat a few kilometres away from my thrashes. Unbelievable. I popped it and it didn't drop. But that happens. But the first few years that I did ganking, I was relying heavily upon the stupidity of others, so people autopiloting with big ticket items on board. I think there seems to be more of a pattern now that I'm getting snowballed here. It seems to be a bit of a pattern where a lot of people who fly with skill injectors and even Plex on board are maybe players who've played in the past, stopped for a while, and they've come back, and maybe they don't know about the fact that skill injectors can be activated remotely, or that Plex can be moved through the Plex vault. And they stick it in a little ship and then they bring it. I'll be quite happy when this event with the snowballs is done and dusted. Another thing that changed, I think it started at the same time as the Plex vault, is when Plex changed from being 1 to 500 to pay for a month. So the old Plex, as it were, used to have in the name a 30-day Plex. This is one of my favourite kills. This is what a Plex used to look like, 30-day pilot extension. And this chap was autopiloting with 28 of these things on board, and they did drop. And so that was the equivalent of being able to Plex up your account for over 2 years. And I can tell you I was shaken after that day as well. So it's 13:24 eve time. So things are starting to warm up a bit. I'm only working with the 2 thrashes today. That's because I'm recording. Probably be the same when I'm streaming as well. Speaking of which, the last video that I posted, I asked for feedback on whether or not I should be streaming on YouTube or Twitch. Thanks for your response. Overwhelmingly, it seems that people would watch videos on YouTube but watch streaming on Twitch. So Twitch it is. If you like these videos and you use Twitch, please find Magaibo on Twitch and follow, and then you'll get a notification when I go live. And then you can arrange to form a gang to come and gank me. The last video I posted it 20 hours ago, and it's got 482 views, which has absolutely blown me away. Thank you for your continued interest in what I do here. It means an awful lot. If you'd like to like the video, subscribe, then it makes it more aware, it raises the profile. Other people start watching it, I can make more content, and it makes it worthwhile to do it live at that point. Look at it, there's 24 comments already on the video I posted yesterday, a few questions. Lots of people actually saying I hope you get well soon, which is very nice. Thank you very much. This is the last day, I think, or was yesterday the last day that I should be self-isolating because of COVID, but unfortunately the rest of the family's got COVID as well, so while I can go out, can't really take them with me. Could be some people might see that as a blessing, but staying in. Richard Priest left a comment yesterday in response to a point that I've made about thinking that this gate was maybe getting a little quieter, and I was wondering if people were avoiding the gate from Perimeter to Jita because of the videos I've been posting, because of ganking. Richard left a comment saying that he thought it wasn't so much this gate that was being left, but rather the whole route because of ganking in Uedama, further down the pipe. I mean, that's a good point, but I don't know if the gankers in Uedama go for the same targets that I do. I might be wrong. I'm going to go through a theme day, I swear to God, where anybody who travels in a Corvette and has the name Trade in the title, I'm going to shoot them whether they've got anything in the cargo or not. Just going to get a cheap fit and just pop them all. Another comment on the video from Troa Barton, who asks, do you exclusively use the Thrasher or do you use other ganking ships? I'd like to see the other methods. I have on occasion used a tornado, but that's usually if I'm got a specific target in mind. If somebody jumps through the gate in a blockade runner or a T1 industrial and they're just sitting there, or even a destroyer and they've got something worth killing, then I will go back to the station, get a tornado, and then come back and kill them. But generally, I stick with the Thrasher. There's lots of other tornado pilots around. They're a lot better than me, and I prefer killing ships that will drop skill injectors, extractors, certificates, than a T1 industrial that's maybe got a couple 100 million of basically crap in it. I don't really get the attraction of the crap pinata, because you got to go through all the hassle of selling all of that. I prefer the sexy kills. I don't know if there are, if there is anyone else streaming or putting videos up with other ganking ships with Thrashers, with tornadoes, or Talos, or catalysts. I think that there is. But have a little scout about on YouTube. I'm sure that there's something there for everyone. A comment just been left by Sia Pong. Is it possible to try ganking as an alpha clone, or is Omega needed to do it successfully? Well, if you're doing it as an alpha, you've got no chance of getting a looter. You need to have Omega to do 2 accounts at once. So, yeah, you kind of do need to be alpha. Unless you've got somebody else completely different to do the looting for you. But technically, if you're just looking at whether or not an alpha can have the skills to arm a Thrasher and kill autopiloting shuttles and Velators, yeah, absolutely. I also asked yesterday, if you watch these videos, what is it that you're doing while you're watching these videos? Do you is it while you're playing Eve, or do you watch it at some other point? Shapes in a Frame said, I watch whilst mining. Amuatos, video running in the background while I rat. Another question came from Eleuterio Fernandez, who asks, hello Mac, when you scan a ship, can you see the inside of the cargo containers as well? Yes, you can. I think there is a method by which you can put something inside a plastic wrap where it can't be seen when it's scanned. But I tend to think of plastic wrap items as being bait ships. By bait, I mean someone's got a ship that's unusually well tanked, and they're trying to get you to kill them just so they can get a kill right and make 30 or 40 million ISK that way. Do you know, to the ordinary observer, this may look like it's quite dull, but I've missed being in Perimeter. I really enjoy this. It's a little more relaxing than being in Jita. Googless Monopole says a ganker is complaining about thieves. Boo ha 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 ha. No, you're quite right. You're quite right. I've got no reason to moan whatsoever. I'm sure if someone was making a video about hauling skill injectors in corvettes, that they would be annoyed if they were shot as well. But I'm allowed to air my grievances. I'm aware of the irony, but it's my video. DB3D says, if you're safety off on red, doesn't that mean people can shoot at you? Now, if you're not sure what he's talking about, it's this button here, which sets your own safety. And what that means is, if you select enable safety with green level, that means you can't accidentally do anything that would make you criminal or suspect. You can't accidentally shoot another pilot or steal from them. The game would not let you do that because of the safety setting. If you set it to partial safety, you can go suspect but not criminal, which means that you would be allowed to steal from another player, but you wouldn't be allowed to shoot someone unless it was legal. I have it set to red, safety completely disabled, which means I'm allowed to purposely engage in criminal activity, i.e. shooting another pilot in high security space. You wouldn't be much of a ganker if you had that set to orange or green. So my looter, for example, has it set to orange or yellow, because I do want him to be able to go suspect when he steals the loot. Whereas my Okator DST pilot is set to green. There are no circumstances under which they should be going suspect or criminal. So the question, if my safety is on red, does that mean that people can shoot at you? No, it doesn't. This safety setting only relates to my actions. It doesn't affect other people. So no matter what I have that set to, no one else is allowed to shoot me unless I am suspect, criminal, and that's it. If I have shot out at someone in the past and given them a kill right, they can activate that kill right and shoot me, but what they do when they activate that kill right is make me suspect. So it still stands that you can only shoot me in high security space if I'm suspect or criminal. Hey Shuttle. Blueprint copies always show up as being worthless, and for the most part they are. The difference between, if you want a quick way of telling the difference between a blueprint copy and a blueprint, it's the colour. Blueprint copies are lighter blue, the originals are darker blue. And if you're scanning and you see just to complete that thought, blueprint copies also always show as 0 ISK. Blueprint originals show as their ISK market value. Now, I say ISK value because blueprint originals can be researched, which changes their value. So if you buy a blueprint original and research it, then it can increase its value, but you are then no longer able to sell it on the market. You can only sell it through contracts. And anything that you can't sell on the market, you've got to sell through contracts, becomes a bit of a pain if you're looking to turn things over quite quickly. I got a Thanatos blueprint original last week, which was researched to about 714, and I can't sell it. I've got it up on a contract for less than market value, and just nobody's interested. I think it's 1.25 for a vanilla blueprint original Thanatos blueprint on the market, and I think I've got it up for sale for about 1.1 billion. Just can't sell it. Okay, autopiloting Heron. So you see lots of the explorer ships that are scanning and they autopilot in. So they've been doing explorer sites and they come through with T1 salvage and maybe up to 60 or 80 million. Not worth popping. And then you'll see Asteros coming through with maybe about 140, 150 million. To kill an Asteros, 2 Thrashers, again, not worth popping for that much. Now, this Tornado here has got the Scorpion next to him, which I take the Scorpion's boosting him. But you can see he's got no looters around there. His looters are 2 T1 industrials, which are cloaked. And what they do is they warp down when there's a target. But they're very slow. So, given that these guys are known for being loot thieves from other gankers, hence why I've got them set to red, they have refused to engage with the ganking community. They don't talk to others, they don't share the knowledge, don't share intel. Do you think it would be moral or immoral to steal their loot, to scram their industrials? Leave a wee comment and let me know. Would it be immoral for me? Okay, here's a thought, right? Would it be immoral for me to scram their industrials, steal the loot, and then return it to the person that they ganked it from? A little Robin Hood action going on there. No, he stole from the rich. Yeah, I'll be stealing from the rich and returning it to the rich. Oh. Well, let's see how it goes. If they kill somebody, let's try and steal the loot, scram them, their looters, and then return the loot to the person that they stole it from. Let's see if we can do that. They might not even be active. Certainly, if they see this video, they'll likely want to move to another gate when they see me. Piloting Astero, 26 million. So I mentioned that I started off on this gate, and then Jita just seemed like, no, I can't go there, I'm not good enough. Even though I'd been doing it by this point for about 3 or 4 years, Jita seemed to be where the absolute professionals hung out. And no, I've already scanned that guy, come on, get your act together. I was at the other gate that's in perimeter, which is the Erlen gate. which is another gate I've got a soft spot for. And there was another ganker there, and this was before I knew about a ganker community or anything like that. And I'd shot someone, and then my screen had locked up, and the person that I'd shot had dropped a couple of skill injectors, large skill injectors, and the ganker that was there looted them for me, docked up at the station, and then went to trade them with me. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 injectors. And we got chatting. I told him to keep one of the injectors as a thank you, and he invited me to this particular chat that the gankers are in, and that's when I found out about the other gankers. And at that point I got talking to them, and then I thought, I'm going to give it a shot in Jita. The station, nope. The station was overloaded. It was slow because of the amount of things that were on the grid, but also, as I mentioned in the video yesterday, people using scripts to steal loot on the docking point. And it was I gave it a couple of shots on the docking point. I had a wee bit of success, but I didn't want to feed people that were basically stealing using scripts. Now, if somebody wants to come at me, try to steal the loot, or use anti-ganking measures, and they're doing it within the game, they're doing it within the rules, the terms and conditions, and you're doing it properly, you're doing it legally, I'm all for that. It's content, it's game content, and it's a challenge, and it's interesting. Bring it on. But if you're using external programs to control your client to steal the loot, there's something kind of sour about that. And I know someone might leave a comment going, oh, there's a ganker complaining about someone stealing loot. I'm not complaining about the stealing of the loot. I'm complaining about using programming and bots and whatnot to do that for you. So CCP, disappointed you haven't done anything about that, but that's my bugbear, and that's why I try to leave Jita Station alone. So when I started on the perimeter gate in Jita and figured out the best points, best place to sit at, techniques, where my looter should be sitting, good bookmarks, all of these different things. Get to know the place. But it's tough because everything, there's, like I said, there's four gates all on the same grid, so Jita moves fast, and it's quite a demanding place to be for your laptop, for your computer that you're using. There's a lot of things going on grid at the same time. So Jita was it was pros and cons. The pros being there's definitely a lot more loot in Jita. If you go to my website, which is magaibo.com, and look back through my kills and go back as far as just November 21, that month was crazy. I think I got about 30 large skill injectors, maybe more. A couple of ridiculous kills. So yeah, at first Jita was quite demanding, and then you get used to it. Anyone would, from doing it for a lengthy period of time and figuring it out and learning from my own mistakes, yeah, it works. Oh no, look at this. Another member of the Three Sharks. Okay. Space Bug. You autopiloting shuttle, you. Nothing. You know, there's nothing that makes the kills dry up quicker than starting to shoot a video about ganking. Here's Fods. Fods is like a character called Arg, which is all they do is fly around and pod people, and I've done this in the past with a different character. It's an awful lot of fun, particularly when CCP introduced the events where pods will drop implants when the capsule's podded. Some money to be made there. It's a lot of fun. So you do see the same people again and again. You get used to how different corps and alliances work around and about here. I've seen one character there, Parsival. There he is, right there, Parsival 2021. He's got this slaver hound on board all the time, and he's just gone backwards and forwards. I saw one chap in an Astero autopiloting with a large skill injector on board, and he did this a number of different times, and he said it was because he was packing in the game and he was moving them to different places for a game for his court mates to try and find them. I don't know how that works. Sometimes fun to scan ships that you've got no hope of killing just to see what it is that they've got on board. As long as you don't scan a blockade runner, there's not really much point. Oh, see, now, because I'm messing around with that stabber, I miss a legitimate target of an ibis. So there's a complete lack of focus on my part there. I'm a bad example, a bad role model for what you should be doing. So as I'm making this video, I see that the video I posted yesterday has just gone to 500 views. It's 500 views in 21 hours. That means a lot. Thank you very much. This is about the 4th or 5th long video I've shot about ganking, and I think I've only had 1 or 2 kills. It's making a mockery of things. Asteros are very quick to align. If you have to take valuables, don't autopilot, but use an Astero. It's sub 2 second align time. Another ship that's surprisingly quick at aligning is the Synesis. I've noticed an increase in the amount of people using the Synesis to shift valuables around. So we've got this venture has come down from Tranquility Trading Tower, but only a couple of drones to his name. I think the station in Jita 4.4 is one of the most important places in the game, but also has its unique little ecosystem with the way in which the gankers work there. You get people who are practically permanent residents of the Undock, each with their own different scam. So I think it might be something that's interesting enough to do a video just about Jita, the Undock, from a ganker's point of view, to point out the different places, the different areas of interest. If there's anything in particular from a ganker's point of view you'd like to hear about, or you'd like me to make a video about, leave a comment. I do take breaks from ganking every now and then to go and do some low-sec PvP, but that content would be abysmal. I don't think that would be of any interest to anybody. Not because it isn't interesting, but just because I'm such a poor PvP pilot. Now there's Parsifal that we saw with the Slaver Hound a moment ago. He's come back with some... I think he's been mining and he's just bringing his profits to Jita. Yeah, he's less than a month old. He's trying his best. Let's give him a bit of money. There we go. That'll confuse him. Autopiloting T1 industrials is something you see quite a lot. With crap cargo. Another question left as a comment on the video comes from Amu Otas, who says, what is your experience with the warp time versus server ticks? That is there a difference between 2.9 seconds versus 3.1 seconds when trying to fit a fast, expensive cargo frigate? Don't know, mate. I don't tend to fit fast, expensive cargo frigates. I tend to kill them. So I don't know much about the warp speeds versus server ticks, warp time. Other than to say what I said earlier, which is just that Asteros, Sunesis look like it would be very difficult to get a lock on them. Same for blockade runners as well. It's what they're designed to do. So if you do have to shift stuff that's worth a lot, go with a blockade runner with a cloak. Whatever you do, don't go for a leopard. Leopards just attract attention. Leopards scream, I've got something valuable on board. And gank is cheer the killing of an empty leopard. It's just a little sting of 100 million whenever a leopard's shot. And a lot of them are empty, but they've got a higher proportion of them. I've got a higher value cargo on board than other shuttles. So I would steer clear of flying a leopard. It's just like waving a red flag. I feel sorry for freighter pilots, I think. It's not a fun way to live your life, is it? That shuttle pilot waited. He was sitting there for a while. Long enough to uncloak, and then he walked up to the station, so he had 16, 17 seconds where he was just sitting there doing nothing. So that question that was asked about the align time, someone's left a comment that says align time is always rounded up. 2.01 and 2.99 are both 3-second align time. I don't know if that's useful for anyone. There are times that I've ganked people who've been autopiloting and they've messaged me afterwards to explain to me why they were autopiloting. Oh, look at this idiot. Right. Oh, this is the slowest loot in the world. Okay. So that loot was that kill was partly out of boredom. He came down, and I've seen this before. Someone's come down to hit me with a snowball, but with all of this on board. And let's see, what is it actually worth? It's the Stratios skins and the Astero skins that have got the value. So let's just... So this is my looter. He's suspect at the moment. He's gone to one of the stations. He completely overshot the wreck and came back. There was other ships there. They would have been well within their rights to loot that because it was so slow. So it was just the Astero skins that dropped. The Stratios didn't. That's a very poor kill. But that's boredom. Right, I'll sit out my criminal timer and then I'll rejoin you again once I'm back in place. So to recap what just happened there was a chap in a ship came down and targeted me, and he was firing snowballs at me to get the SP, and he stuck around long enough for me to scan him, and when I did scan him I saw he had 171 million on board, mostly Astero and Stratios skins. The Stratios skins, which probably would have been worth a wee bit more, didn't drop. It wasn't a great kill. And then he got in touch and messaged me and was complaining that he was new and why did I kill him, and he needed the money and would I reimburse him. So I gave him a pass. I gave him his skins back as a one-off. That's his pass. Don't let anyone know. Don't anyone thinking that I'm a pushover. I certainly don't want to encourage pitiful emails. So it'll just be our secret. And I think the worst thing about that was the looter at the end. It was so slow, hitting the gate on the way around. That was pretty poor. There was a couple of other ships next to the loot that could have taken it. Maybe they just looked and thought it's not worth it. So I've got my looter sitting on this side at the point at which ships will cross if they're autopiloting in from another system. Now here's another ship that's come down from Triple T on the other side. The Merlin. Let's have a look. Nothing. So the idea of this ship is if something is autopiloting and I'm going to kill it, then in theory my looter should be right next to where that rig would be. But if I kill something anywhere else, then it's going to take him a little while to get there. That's when you can steal stuff if you want. And what's particularly troublesome about this gate is that the autopilot in from the other systems and the autopilot in from Triple T, the Tranquility Trading Tower, is exactly on the opposite side of the gate. So if I've got a looter on this side, it's going to hit the gate when it tries to get the loot from anything on the other side. It's just a quirk. It's one of those things. And I would certainly ordinarily be looking for a lot more than that in a kill. But if someone rocks up and targets you and you scan them and they're doing that right in front of you, it's almost like an invitation, isn't it? There's something else that it's difficult to know their true value of. In fact, it's impossible to get the true value of an Abyssal mod unless you've actually either got a hold of it or somebody's linked it into a chat. And even then, you're going to, is it mutaplasmid.space is a website where you can put in the details of an Abyssal mod and that'll give you an approximate value of it. When you're scanning, who knows what the value is? It's a complete guess. And it's a good scam as well, because you can get Abyssal mods dirt cheap, load in Ibis or Reaper, any sort of corvette full of them, and then undock, and if someone ganks you, then you've got your access to the kill right. So you could be making a profit that way as well. I'm currently training up my booster pilot, who is this chap in the Gnosis, so we can use a command destroyer to see if that gives me any additional boost over sensor boost over what I'm doing at the moment. I think there's a point at which you can't really increase it anymore for sensor boosting and tracking, where it's just smaller and smaller increases that you would get. So it might not actually be worth it, but I can give it a try. I've not really mentioned the humble venture. The venture is something else that you can quite easily pop with a thrasher, and which some people do use to ship valuables. So they don't look like the corvette or the triangle shape of the frigate like that. They've got their own little rectangle shape. Not to be confused with a couple of explorer ships that have got the same shape, which can be tough little nuggets. You can sometimes need a couple of thrashers, maybe 3, to get through their shells. I'm getting distracted again here. I should be looking here for when something jumps through, but I'm not. I'm scanning paladins. See, this is what I mean by the problem being that the stations on the grid as well, is that these ships are on the undock or the docking end point of some of the structures that are this far away from the gate. And that clouds up the overview here for when I'm just looking for a corvette jumping through. It would be good if on the overview you could have filters so I could only see ships that were between 25 and 15 kilometers. You know, if I could set that filter myself, that would make things a lot easier. It's another difference with thrashers. I think that if I was going to be using a thrasher to gank stuff, I would definitely want to be scanning the ship, maybe the system beforehand, and also scanning the not just the cargo but the fitting of the ship itself. Now, there's a difference between ship scanners and cargo scanners. If I scan the cargo of a ship, let's see if I can just, next time a ship comes by, I told you the Synesis moved fast. This autopiling cormorant, I'm doing a cargo scan when I scan him, and I know that that is 100% correct. That tells me exactly what is in his ship, and if I was to kill him, you would see that this is completely accurate. But a ship scanner is different. A ship scanner scans the modules and the drones, I think, the drones as well, on a ship. And it isn't 100% correct, depending on possibly your skills, but definitely the distance from the ship. And you might have to do a scan a few different times to get an accurate reading of, build up an accurate picture of what is on a particular ship. And if I was wanting to shoot industrials, I would want to have a much better idea of what a ship has in the way of a tank. For example, if a ship's got a number of expanded cargo holds, then that depletes the tank. So for that reason, if you are going to go out to gank with tornadoes and shoot industrials, I would maybe have a scout a system or so ahead so you can prepare, but also have an idea of the fitting of the ship as well. I think you'd benefit from that. Because it's all part and parcel, isn't it, of flying an industrial, is that you may well be ganked. Whereas I don't think that people who are putting skill injectors inside a shuttle or a corvette have that much of a game plan. The other thing that's different as well is that it may well be the case that people who were further up, further systems, other systems, would already have had an opportunity to kill people who were autopiloting towards Jita. So I'm really at the tail end of this pipe. Which is perhaps the advantage of being at this spot, is that this is the gate that comes down from Tranquility Trading Tower. And that's where the cheapest skill injectors are. So if anyone's autopiloting from that station, from that structure, there's going to be one or two places that they'll be going to. One is this gate, and one is the gate in, well, more likely the gate in Erlin than any of the other gates. I think that apart from the Jita gate, that'll be the busiest gate. So if you do want to start out ganking with a thrasher, I would recommend that your first gate that you practice at would be the Urlen gate, URLEN gate in perimeter. It's advantageous because it's a good grid. There's only one structure on the grid and no other gates, so there's nothing clouding up your overview. You will catch people autopiloting from Jita and also from the Tranquility Trading Tower, and you'll also get a chance to catch ships that are on their way in as well. So that's a good beginner's gate. And it's a bit quieter, so there's less likely to be loot thieves or other gankers already sitting there. So this is perimeter ganking. Lots of opportunities to be had here. Lots of chances to steal from the loot thieves. The 3 sharks. You can have that bit of intel for nothing. Thanks for dropping by and listening. Delighted to hear any comments that you might have. Any tips or hints, any questions that you have as well. Quite happy to try my best at answering those. Check me out on Twitch, Magaibo on Twitch. Also the new website at magaibo.com. Still waiting to hear back from CCP as to see whether or not I would be permitted to give away skill injectors and game time in free to enter competitions giveaways. Please subscribe, like. More likes, more content. So thanks very much, and I will see you next time. Goodbye now.